After months of theory crafting and speculating that Gabumon would be getting a second mega form in the 2020 Digimon Adventure reboot, the Metalgarurumon subspecies CresGarurumon has made his animation debut in episode 56 of the new series. And yes, for those who need to know, the build-up and animation to this alt mega was much better than BlitzGreymon's cool but kind of random and lightly animated first appearance exactly 20 episodes ago. So let's talk episode 56 because there was a lot to love about it, but it wasn't a flawless episode. Like the video if you can, and subscribe if you're new and enjoy this kind of stuff, or if you've watched at least a few of my videos and haven't subscribed yet, please do me that small personal favor just to help to bring the channel to the next level. This week, the Crest's quest continues as each of the 8 Digidestined are on the hunt for some vaguely defined physical location that is said to hold the answers / meaning to their crest, which is said to hold the answers to stopping the upcoming great catastrophe that Wisemon warned us about in episode 51. This week, it's Yamato's time to shine, and we find him in a forest with Gabumon making camp for the night, still not quite at their destination. Gabumon has this dream or premonition or perhaps a flashback to another life, seeing a golden sword wielding Digimon battling an army of samurai. When he wakes up, we discover an attack is currently taking place on a group of refugee Digimon led by Starabimon, who is making his animation debut and is actually related to Lobomon from Digimon Frontier, so it's this cool way linking it back to the cool wolf theme rival characters in the two series. We discover that Zambamon is this phantom samurai just raiding and destroying Digimon villages in the area. A legendary warrior dressed in gold armor and wielding a golden sword was the only one to ever defeat Zambamon in life, but it appears Zambamon won after all as his spirit lived on, whereas besides a rusted sword, the golden warrior has kind of disappeared. Yamato and WereGarurumon try taking on Zambamon for round 2 but are no match, and Taichi and Metalgarurumon actually show up for the assist. I'm not too heavily in the camp of too much Tai in this new series, but I will say I was hoping this episode would truly be about Matt and Gabumon. It was still ultimately about them, but it is what it is. One thing about Tai's inclusion that I did like was how apparently it came about after Izzy researched Zambamon and discovered how tough he is. He called in the assist for Yamato's sake. I enjoyed Matt calling up Izzy throughout the episode, as one, it was nice seeing what Izzy has been up to in these episodes, and two, it was nice seeing Matt call up Izzy basically being brave enough and vulnerable enough to admit that he needs help instead of just being that stubborn solo lone wolf character still. After a second failure though, this time with Taichi, Starabimon brings Yamato and Garurumon to this ancient site where Garurumon retrieves the rusted ancient weapon of the Golden Warrior, insisting that those dreams he's been having are some kind of a call. I'm curious if the show was trying to say that our Gabumon literally was that Golden Warrior from the past, or if our Gabumon wasn't that guy but is becoming the successor. It wasn't particularly clear, and Digimon 2020 hasn't really gone too deep into who these Digimon are after that one time in episode 5 where they talked about the Digimon Megas in the Holy War being our Digimon partners today. With the blade in hand, WereGarurumon challenges Zambamon, loses, has the blade snapped in half, and here's where Yamato picks up one half of the blade, taking after Joe and Mimi in being humans who physically get in on the action. Yamato's intervention saves WereGarurumon, and their union essentially rebuilds the blade, reawakens its power, and activates Yamato's Digivice, giving it that same jingle that Mimi achieved last week. All of these elements combined lead to the glorious evolution sequence for CresGarurumon. This thing is truly miles above the BlitzGreymon evolution, and on the level, if not slightly higher than the Rosemon evolution last week. CresGarurumon looks fantastic, and in some ways I might like it more than Metalgarurumon, but perhaps it's just recency bias of seeing an awesomely animated new form. Unfortunately, awesomely animated is a term I can only use to describe the transformation sequence, but not so much the battle. We start with slideshow animations of the original fight from the two warriors in the past, and initially I thought, okay, no big deal, flashbacks can be slideshows, it's fine. But then the actual present day battle was quite weak, as it was just a couple of quick slashes before Zambamon is sliced in two. It honestly reminded me of the epically underwhelming 1999 WereGarurumon versus Machinedramon battle. The fight felt very 1999 Digimon Adventure to me, which is to say, well, to be honest, and no shade, just not very well choreographed or animated. But I suppose if we could only have the animation budget for one thing, I'd prefer the evolution sequence to look gorgeous, which it definitely did. So that's where the episode wraps up, with the village thanking our team and vowing to train to be their own versions of the golden CresGarurumon. Taichi mentions, quote, "Looks like Yamato also reached the answer to the crest that Wisemon mentioned," which I will say confused me. Surely that's not the end for Yamato and Gabumon, right? Because at the start of this episode, the compass was pointing pointing him somewhere else that wasn't this forest. He even said, quote, "What lies beyond the arrow? What do I need to do there?" I suppose the show never promised us this, but I was kind of expecting the kids would arrive at a physical location representing the crest, like their crest would be carved into a mountain face or something. And so far that hasn't been happening for anyone. Right now, with only 10 episodes left, I'm extremely confused with what we're doing in this post-Millenniumon world. If you've watched my video from earlier this week, maybe they're looking at setting up a season 2 and this is just the bridge. But if this is the end of the road, like if in 10 episodes we're done, we really need some answers and set up stat. The next episode may offer us that, as we see in the episode 57 preview that Omegamon is back, who hasn't really been relevant since the 3rd episode of the show. The title of the episode also says something about the catastrophe, plus the Digimon of the week for next week is Wisemon, so I'm hoping and praying for another lore dump just to help us understand what the threat is at this point, like what's next. Lastly, I mentioned earlier that I don't care that much about the too much tie stuff, but I actually laughed out loud seeing the preview for episode 57 containing this one shot of literally dozens of ties. I feel like the creators are truly trolling the too much tie people, and I think that's really hilarious. Overall though, episode 56 was a really strong one-off episode. I really loved the fantasy / ancient kind of fairy tale storytelling of this golden warrior and all of that, and I love that we now have CresGarurumon and BlitzGreymon in this new series, so I think Omegamon Alter-S is only a matter of time. He'll probably be the final form of this series that helps us win the final battle against the final boss. Let me know what your thoughts on the episode were and where you think we're headed next. I'm always interested to hear. I put out 2 videos this week I'd love for you to check out if you haven't already. One is on that report I mentioned about a new continuation series that could potentially start in October 2021, and the other video is a roundup of 10 different anime besides Digimon that I watched this year that I wanted to talk about and give some recommendations on. It's not Digimon themed, but it would mean a lot to me if you check that out. 1, just for spreading my wings a bit, and 2, to help my second channel get enough views to turn on monetization. You need 4,000 watch hours before you can make even a penny on YouTube. I really want to get that channel monetized just in case anything happens here on the main channel in terms of copyright shenanigans. If the second channel is fully up and running with no restrictions, I can continue making videos for you guys in the event that something goes wrong here on the other channel without having to take a huge financial loss of, making videos with no monetization on. I know it's weird to talk about all that stuff, but the reality is I can't really do this for free forever. Thanks for understanding, thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you all in the next video. Digimon Adventure 2020, the reboot of the original 1999 series, may be getting a sequel or a follow-up or a second season, whatever you want to call it, as soon as October of this year, which is only a month after the show is currently set to wrap up at episode 66 in September of this year. Today I'm going to walk you through the origin of this new report, what I think about its validity, and some possibilities for what this so-called Digimon Adventure follow-up sequel series could be. Wikimon, which is a fantastic site and Twitter account for Digimon news, shared screenshots of a pre-order